let's go!
Haha! I did it! I solved Five Nights at Freddy's Secret of the Mimic before the game even comes out. With the release date of the game fastly approaching, many people have developed a plethora of ideas on what exactly the story of the game might be about, and I think I've cracked the case. Hello friends, family, and fans alike, and welcome to the Soup Kitchen. I'll be your head chef, the one and only Soup, and in today's episode, I'll be revealing the Mimic's biggest secret and what exactly is going on behind the scenes at Murray's Costume Manor. Will my hypothesis age like a fine wine or curdle like spoiled milk? There's only one way to find out, so let's dig in! Psst, disclaimer. The first piece of information we can glean about the story of this game is when exactly it takes place. In the first teaser of the game, published by Steel Wool Studios during FNAF's 10-year anniversary, God, I'm old, we find out that the game is most likely set in the year 1979, as seen in the closing shot of the teaser. Not much else is shown off other than a brief introduction to a new clown character, who we later learn is named Jackie, thanks to Help Wanted 2 in PAX West. Her design is likely inspired by other characters like Circus Baby, the Buddy Paper Pal seen in FNAF 2, and Coils the Birthday Clown from the Fazbear Fright's short story Jump for Tickets. That's another thing you'll notice about Secret of the Mimic. The game seems to borrow or adapt tons of elements from the books, as seen in the next gameplay trailer shown off during PlayStation's State of Play event on February 12th. In that trailer, we learn a lot, as we, a currently unnamed Fazbear Entertainment employee, are sent to Murray's Costume Manor to retrieve a prototype endoskeleton known simply as the Mimic. We also find out that Fazbear Entertainment specifically contracted the owner, Edwin Murray, to construct the endoskeleton.
So let me explain the situation. One of our contractors, Edwin Murray, has gone missing.
However, Edwin Murray has seemingly vanished due to unknown reasons, leaving his manor abandoned. So it's up to us to head there and retrieve the endoskeleton from the desolate manor. Now, this scenario bears a striking similarity to that of the Fazbear Fright short story titled The Mimic, in which we learn a lot about Edwin and his life, his son David, the titular character of the Mimic, and even about a group of employees who are sent to clean up after Edwin disappeared. In the story, we find out that Edwin specifically created the Mimic to keep his son entertained while he was busy resuiting costumes with the new endoskeletons for Fazbear Entertainment. With the introduction of Edwin Murray and the Mimic into game continuity, this led a lot of people to believe that the Tales from the Pizzaplex books are now part of the game continuity. But I disagree. With the recent teasers of more Murray Co. products aside from just vacuum cleaners, several inconsistencies between the books and the games, and Daco's recent interview with game developer Evan Lampe, I just don't think that's the case. Instead, I believe the stories involving Edwin provide the framework for what we can expect to see within Secret of the Mimic. Because, after all,
if you've read the books, you don't know the full story.
So here's what I think happens. In 1979, we find Edwin Murray doing business out of his costume manor, selling a plethora of products with advanced AI features in them, with the intent on helping the consumers. These AI-influenced products, including things like vacuum cleaners, coffee machines, coat racks, and these little plush things known as the mycelium men, can learn from their surroundings.
I know what you want better than you do. I am always watching and learning.
And unlike what we learn in the books, Edwin seems to be doing financially successful.
That's nice and all, but what exactly does that have to do with Fazbear Entertainment?
Well, I'm glad you asked. See, I believe that Murray Co. is no stranger to Fazbear Entertainment, with Edwin formerly doing business with them by providing them a plethora of costumes to use for something like Fall Fest. When Fazbear Entertainment sees Edwin Murray's new artificially intelligent products, they specifically contract him to develop a prototype endoskeleton that can adapt to any character to expedite the process of mascot creation. However, something tragic happens to poor Edwin. You see, as we learn from the short story The Mimic, we find out that Edwin's son David ran out on the road chasing after his ball, which resulted in him getting hit by a car and subsequently dying. David's death caused a lot of agony and grief to swell inside of Edwin, and this agony would later be learned by the Mimic whilst he was constructing it.
My grief lies all within, and these external manner of laments are merely shadows of the unseen grief that swells with silence in the tortured soul.
To tangent just slightly, we can actually see something very similar with Henry in the novel trilogy after the death of his daughter Charlie, with each of the different Charlie bots embodying different mental and emotional states of Henry. More specifically, the fourth and final Charlie bot embodying his hatred, anger, and grief. Henry's anger here is very similar to what we see with Edwin, as he beats the crap out of the Mimic with a metal pipe after it continues to mimic David's behaviors, such as asking for ice cream and holding a makeshift white tiger plush, very similar to the one that David had before he died. So it's not unreasonable to assume that the game version of the mimic inherited Edwin's grief and sadness over David and lashed out at him.
The evil that men do lives after them. The good is often interred with their bones.
As for Edwin's fate, well, we don't exactly know what happens, but my guess is that Edwin Murray was killed at the hands of the Mimic. As for Fazbear Entertainment, I believe that they are actually successful in getting their hands on the Mimic, as we can see its software being used in Help Wanted as Glitch Trap, the Glamrock endoskeletons needing to be programmed to be the characters, and the Mimic endoskeleton itself in the sister location bunker beneath the Pizzaplex, in ruin. And the Mimic's secret is that he misses David, a kid who he hardly ever knew, and someone who he still continues to search for. The Mimic desires freedom and will do anything to find his David, but thanks to Edwin's security system, Mex's, he is trapped in the manor. He's then freed by Fazbear Entertainment, but later used and sealed away again behind a concrete wall beneath the soon-to-be Pizzaplex. And that's the story of Five Nights at Freddy's Secret of the Mimic. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments section below, and if you're watching this after the game's release, how close was I? Was I cooking with this hypothesis, or was the stove off the whole time? Feel free to let me know if I missed anything, and be sure to check out the theory that makes up the backbone of my hypothesis, that being Another David by GregorysArmy on Twitter. Link down in the description below. I'm a huge advocate for this theory, and I think it makes so much sense with the Mimic now being in game continuity. And if you liked hearing me ramble, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I've been your head chef, the one and only Soup, and we hope you choose to dine with us again sometime real